Today on our show,
it's Wolverine Day!
It's time for some Wolverine. Logan comes out in 1 week. The movie, of course, we're going to be reviewing Old Man Logan, the Mark Millar masterpiece. We're going to do the mailbag, your viewer mail, and we're going to announce the winner of the Facebook Puppy Challenge right here on Chuckload of Comics. Hello and welcome to Chuckload of Comics. My name's Chuck Lindsay.
I'm Shauna Lindsay.
Today, guys, the wait is almost over. We got one more week to the release of Logan in theaters nationwide and worldwide. Who's not super excited about this flick? We both are. Shauna, use your words.
I'm excited.
All right, cool.
Thought pantomiming would be better.
That's okay, as am I. So in honor of that, we're going to be reviewing this book right here. This is Mark Millar's Old Man Logan. It's a classic comic book. It's a masterpiece. The movie isn't directly based on the book, but people wanted Old Man Logan. They knew it was going to be the final flick of Hugh Jackman as the character. Said he got to do Old Man Logan, so that's what they're going to do. Something sort of like that. So we're going to review this book, but first, it's time for some viewer mail. I think we got some mail this week, though, not like last week.
I actually have 2 emails. Isn't that exciting?
Shauna, let's hear these emails.
First email from Bill Hill in Port St. John, Florida, asks, in your opinion, what do you think will happen with Carrie Fisher's character in future Star Wars movies? P.S. She will be missed.
Wow.
Agreed.
She will be missed. That was tragic loss of Carrie Fisher back in December. It sucks when somebody, like, their career is kind of in a lull. They have this major resurgence. Everybody cares about them, and then they pass away. For a terrible thing. But as far as what they're going to do for Star Wars, that's a really good question. Well, first of all, Disney, Lucasfilm, said they're not going to do a CGI Carrie Fisher, which is good. They made that announcement, and some of you are saying, well, they already did a CGI Carrie Fisher, but this is we're talking about a posthumous CGI Carrie Fisher, a post-mortem Digi-Fisher. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do the post-mortem Digi-Fisher.
Thankfully.
You can use that term. That's new. So that's good. I'm glad to see they're not doing that. I'm sure whatever they wind up doing, it's going to be something very respectful to the character, because this is one of the original 4. So
hopefully they just send her off somewhere.
Yeah,
hopefully
it's hard to
kill her off. That would kind of.
I hope they don't kill her off.
That'd be a little tragic.
I hope they just send the character on her way, because they did have major scenes. Disney's already announced they had major scenes planned for Princess Leia in Episode 8 and Episode 9. They had, obviously, the reunion with Luke Skywalker, reunion with her brother. That was already planned. So that's happening. And they also had a meeting with Leia and Kylo Ren planned. We don't know in which movies these 2 scenes were going to happen, but those are the 2 things they said they were going to do. So hopefully they've already shot those. Hopefully we get to see those. Luckily, when she passed away, they were already done shooting Episode 8. She died in December of 2016, so principal photography was already finished, and they had an entire year. It's not like in Fast and Furious when Paul Walker died. He died mid-production. This production was done. They have an entire year to kind of reboot and figure out what they're going to do with it. So I don't think they're going to do something crazy. I personally don't think they're going to kill her off. I'm hoping that they just give her a very respectful farewell. Yeah, but I'm really curious. I think everybody wants to see what's going to happen there. So, great question. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. And
Anything
on
else?
to the second viewer email, who is also a Bill Little from Asheville, North Carolina. He says, it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. I don't know what that means, but
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill Little.
Bill Little from Asheville, North Carolina. Fucking good point. Good point. Thank you for that words of wisdom.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Mr. Little.
So thank you. Thank you very much.
That's great. Great mailbag. Good questions, people. Keep them coming. Our mailbox is
chuckloadofcomics@gmail.com.
chuckloadofcomics@gmail.com. Send us questions, comments, Tell us how terrible we're doing, whatever. Just send it to us. We promise we're going to read them on the air, so you can make them funny, you can make them serious, do whatever you want. So yeah, truckloadofcomics@gmail.com. So
Alright.
before we get into this book, this huge review we're going to do, we have to announce the winner, drumroll please, of the Facebook Puppy Challenge. What was the Facebook Puppy Challenge? That was, we challenged you, America, to tell us what today. And the cat's going
Cat
batshit.
freaked out, sorry.
to guess based on a photo that I posted on Facebook what was the theme of today. And so the theme of today is Old Man Logan. Mark Millar's Old Man Logan. So if you guessed correctly, which only one person did,
You got a puppy!
you get a puppy. So our winner is Antonio Medina of Chicago, Illinois. He's the winner of a puppy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Antonio.
Maybe
Your puppy's in the mail.
We'll FedEx them, overnight them maybe.
I was hoping for more entries because I had 5 puppies, and now I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with the other 4. So maybe you're going to get 4 puppies, Antonio Medina of
5.
Chicago, Illinois. 5. You're going to get the 4 extra ones. So there will be air holes in the box. We're
Yeah,
gonna mail
we'll
it
make
off
sure
to you.
it's,
They're all
safe.
one-eyed pit bulls. So enjoy your puppy. Moving on to the point of the show. Wolverine. Okay, for just to get everybody caught up. If you've been living under a rock somewhere for the past 50 years, or if you're my mother, you might not know exactly who Wolverine is. So, quick recap of who Wolverine is. Wolverine's a mutant in the Marvel Universe. His first appearance was in 1974 in The Incredible Hulk 180. This is actually 181. That's a reprint. But then he wasn't seen again until Giant Size X-Men when Professor Xavier came and recruited him to become a member of his new X-Men squad. His mutant ability, most people know this, but he's got a healing factor. He's got heightened animal senses and smell primarily, and he has razor-sharp bone claws built into his hands. He was in the Weapon X project. In the Weapon X project, they surgically grafted adamantium, which is the strongest metal known to man. Grafted it to his entire skeleton
At the time.
and to his bone claws. So, interesting little side note, most people think that the claws were implants. They're not. He actually does have claws. He didn't find that out until later in the comics in the 90s, that he actually does have claws inside him, because he doesn't remember anything before the Weapon X program. I mean, to this day, he doesn't have any recollection. His memory of his life is pretty much from Weapon X on. So anyway, he became a member of Alpha Flight, and as I said before, Professor X recruited him to become one of the X-Men, and the rest is history. So, and he's probably the most, next to Spider-Man, he may be one of the most famous
Recognizable Marvel characters.
Marvel Comics characters of our generation, certainly. Yeah, so there you go. There's who Wolverine is. Now,
My favorite.
Shauna's got one of the greatest tattoos on her leg of Wolverine. So
Thank
anyway,
you, Ralph Corona.
that's right. So now that we're done plugging our friends and family for the day, moving on to this review. Now, this is a really, really thick book. It's a trade paperback, so it's a collection of 8 different volumes, 8 different comics. If you have a chance to read it, which who doesn't have a chance to read it, just go to your comic book shop and buy it. You got to pick it up. It was released in 2008. It was written by Mark Millar. The art was by Steve McNiven. The art's fantastic. The writing is nothing less than masterful.
What else did Mark Millar do? He did
Civil War, which was recently
right.
adapted into
and Kick-Ass
into a
too,
movie.
right? All
Did
the
he do
Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass?
Yeah, he did Kick-Ass. Also.
Okay, cool. He
Also
also
very
does a
cool.
lot of kind of independent image type stuff. I think 100 Bullets.
Oh.
Yeah, he's no stranger to comic book writing, but this book right here is as good as it gets. You wonder why Logan needed an R rating, why people screamed for an R rating. Pick up this book. This book is graphic. It is violent. Wolverine, he slashes people to ribbons in this book, and other people. It's really bloody, really violent. It's an adult book, but it's amazing. It's just absolutely incredible.
I mean, it's not unnecessary violence.
It's not.
It's adds to the story.
I don't think anything Wolverine does is unnecessary violence. When you think about it, he doesn't shoot you with laser blasts. He doesn't read your mind with his mutant powers. He has knives on his hands.
Right.
His sole purpose is to stab, slash, and cut. So how do you not do that and show a little bit of blood? It's just the way it's
gotta happen.
You know? I mean, he's Freddy Krueger of the Marvel Universe. You can't do that PG-13. So, yeah, so the new movie's rated R, and it's got insane reviews. It doesn't come out till this week. But we've already got our tickets. If you haven't got your tickets, you need to get them. So moving on to the book. Let me start by saying what we're saying in the book is not going to reflect the movie. No spoilers. And if we get to a really big spoiler in the book, we're going to skip over it. We're not going to spoil the book for you, but we are going to go through it from start to finish. We're going to tell you what happens in the book. But we're going to skip over the important stuff, like the really cool, because this book's got some amazing spoilers, some serious, just awesome stuff in it. So what you need to know about the book going in is spelled out for you right there on the first page. It says, nobody knows what happened on the night the heroes fell. All we know is that they disappeared and that evil triumphed. And the bad guys have been calling the shots ever since. That sets up the book. Apparently the villains got together. There was a massive villain uprising. They wiped out all the Marvel heroes. Every Marvel hero, every superhero is either dead, captured, or off the reservation somewhere just chilling. There's no more heroes. The world has been taken over by Marvel villains. All the villains have broken up the United States into their own territories. Go ahead and cough.
Sorry. No, sorry.
Some of the territories, if you go kind of from west to east, is Hulkland is California. It's run by the Hulks. The Kingdom of Kingpin is kind of the Rockies, Las Vegas kind of area. Midwest is Doom's Layers. That's Dr. Doom's area. And then the East Coast is the President's Quarter. That's where you find places like Pym Falls and New Babylon. New Babylon is basically the new Washington, D.C. It's the capital of the country, and it's where Red Skull, President Red Skull, resides. So,
yeah.
You got something?
Oh, I was just gonna say also, they don't confirm how far in the future this is.
They do.
Oh, they do?
Well, they kind of do.
It's obviously the very distant future because of the fact that Logan has aged. I mean, we know he doesn't age rapidly, and the fact that he's old man Logan kind of tells you.
Yeah. They do say that it's 50 years after the villain uprising.
But we don't know when
So
that
we know
happened.
that. We don't know when the villain uprising happened. So let's get right into it. Like I said, this takes place 50 years after the villain uprising. The first thing you see, page 1 of the book, is Logan riding a horse up to an old cabin in the desert. He's old. It's right off the bat you notice this is a very Western kind of a book. I mean, he's riding a horse. He's out in the middle of the desert. He's actually in Hulkland. He lives in California, so he's in Hulkland, like we mentioned earlier. You see him with his family. They quickly establish that they're having hard times making ends meet. They're having a hard time paying rent to the Hulk gang. The Hulk is kind of everybody's landlords of this dominion. So they're having a hard time making ends meet and paying their bills. You see them at the dinner table. His wife talks about selling the kids' toys. I think they say, we're going to sell your Xbox. And Logan says, no, we're not selling the kids' toys to pay our rent. We'll figure something out. They cut to a scene out on the front porch when Logan's son, Scott, which I think is hilarious, he calls his son Scott. Homage to Scott Summers, Cyclops. His daughter's name is Jade, but that's not really an homage that I know of. Maybe it is. So his son's sitting on the front porch and he's like cleaning his gun, he's loading his gun. Logan says, put that thing away. Violence is only going to make matters worse. They've established that he's a pacifist now. Something happened in his past, and they haven't told you what it is yet, that has made him swear off violence completely. He's living a family life. He's going to be a farmer. He hasn't popped the claws in 50 years. So he's a pacifist. He doesn't get in violence of any kind. So they've said that. Just then, the Hulk gang arrives. These redneck, Incredible Hulks, buck-toothed redneck Hulks show up.
Interesting.
Apparently the Hulks are all inbred rednecks now. It's funny, they pull up in the Fantastic Car, which is the Fantastic Four's old vehicle from comics and stuff. So they pull up in the Fantastic car, and they're coming looking for their rent. They're also looking for a fight because
They're Hulks.
they're Hulks. They're always looking for a fight. They try to goad Logan into a fight, into an altercation. Logan has a thought of slaughtering him. This is the first real bloodshed you've seen in the book. And then he quickly changes his mind and takes a beating. The Hulks say, look, we know you don't have your rent, so we're here to administer an ass kicking. And so they do. They beat the living shit out of Logan in front of his family and stuff. So next scene, they cut to Logan in bed. He's kind of recovering from his beating. Hawkeye, Clint Barton, Hawkeye from the comics and from the movies. He shows up. He's very old. He's actually blind now. He's gone blind. Years of staring down a bow and arrow has made him blind. It's not good for your eyes, apparently. So anyway, he says he wants to hire Logan and pay him $500 to drive across the country to kind of ride shotgun for him while he's making a delivery to New Babylon. So he's making a delivery to the president's, to Washington, D.C., apparently. And he wants Logan to ride along because A, he's blind and can't drive a car, and B, you could have worse people sit next to you than Wolverine. So Logan reluctantly agrees. He's needs the money.
Cash.
Yeah, he tells Hawkeye, look, man, for no reason whatsoever am I going to pop the claws. I'm not going to fight anybody. I'm just going with to help you drive. I'm here to read the map. So he goes.
Literally.
So he kisses his family goodbye. They head off in the spider buggy. There's so many nods to classic Marvel stuff in this book, it's not even funny. So they head off in the spider buggy, and yeah, they're off, heading off into the desert, heading cross country, and our story begins. Hawkeye and Logan are driving across the desert. They drive through these little poor towns. It's very Mad Max-like. These technology's kind of gone south, and they're just driving through these poor little towns. Logan asks Hawkeye, what it is they're delivering. He asks if it's drugs. I guess Hawkeye has a past with drugs, and he says, "Look, don't ask me that stuff. I don't need reminding of how far I've fallen." So he's like, "All right." So he leaves it at that. So our heroes make it to San Francisco. We've established they're still in California and driving across the country. So they find San Francisco is completely abandoned. They arrive at night. They see in the shadows a Moloid. A Moloid is like a little mole person, a little troll person, like a chud. If you've seen the movie Chud.
If you haven't, it's like a little mole person.
It's like a Moloid, a little mole person. I didn't know what the Moloids were, but apparently they're creatures who supposedly live underground, and they can suck a whole city underground. They can just swallow a city whole. So that's a Moloid. So they see a Moloid and they just keep going. But so then the Ghost Riders show up on motorcycles. The Ghost Riders, obviously a hat nod to Ghost Rider. You'll see a lot of that, a lot of things with similar names in new settings. So they roll up and they kick the crap out of Logan and Hawkeye. They're just a street gang. They call themselves the Ghost Riders. And you see Logan starting to get pissed. He's taken another beating, but you can see it in the twinkle in his eyes. He's not happy about it. It's kind of the second nod you've seen to him thinking about maybe popping his claws. But he says, I'm never going to hurt another living person as long as I live. So he continues taking a beating. That's when blind Hawkeye, pulls out his bow and arrow and fucks up every single member of the gang. He shoots them all. He's totally blind, but he's still a good enough archer to where he can just sense everybody. So he's shooting in arrows and everybody. Before you know it, everybody's dead. So yeah, the whole gang's gone. Thank you, Hawkeye, for shooting arrows in all the people's heads.
That's what he does.
It's then that you see Logan's first flashback to what it was that happened with the villains that made him go pacifist. It's only like one panel that you see him in a fight with Mr. Sinister and Omega Red. It's pretty bloody looking brawl. And then he flashes out of that. So they leave San Francisco. They head into Las Vegas. Las Vegas is now called Hammer Falls. It's become a mecca, a place where people go on a pilgrimage to worship fallen superheroes. It's called Hammer Falls because that's where Thor's hammer eventually fell And it still sits there to this day, and everybody's just sitting there. They're worshiping Thor's hammer. And that's really cool. Just cool to see that kind of stuff. It's there that Hawkeye meets with his ex-wife. And his ex-wife tells him, oh, our daughter has been kidnapped by Kingpin.
Of course.
Because that's just what happens.
That's what happens in comic books.
So Hawkeye's daughter's been kidnapped by Kingpin. Hawkeye begins to formulate a plan of how he's going to rescue his daughter, but he's got to convince Logan to go along with him. So Hawkeye finally persuades Logan to go on a rescue mission to save his daughter. Says he'll double his pay. Logan, again, reluctantly agrees. He knows double pay is going to set him up for quite a long time. So he says, yes, let's do it. But again, says, I'm not going to pop my claws. I'm not going to get into a fight, no matter what happens. So don't expect me to help you out if shit gets hairy. So we're back on the road, heading east towards the kingdom of Kingpin to rescue Hawkeye's daughter. En route to the kingdom of Kingpin, they drive through a little town. They see a kid on a steeple. The whole town is sunk in, and there's just a church steeple sitting up and a guy clinging to it, kind of like in Tremors when the guy was hanging to the...
Good reference.
You remember that? The guy was hanging on the electrical thing, and he was dead. He was sitting up on the electrical post, and he died sitting there. Very similar to that, at least. That's what it made me think of. So anyway, he's like, yeah, the guy is like, the whole town was sucked up. What's sucked under? Hello, Moloids. And Hawkeye says, look, man, we can't help this guy. Sorry, we gotta go. So they keep on trucking. They're like, screw it. Sorry, kid, can't help you. So they get to the kingdom of Kingpin, and this is awesome scene. There's this huge stadium spectacle going on, very gladiatorial-looking spectacle in one of the old football stadiums. Kingpin, who's the new Kingpin, he's not, you wouldn't recognize him to see him in the book, but he's the Kingpin now. He has Daredevil and Punisher chained to the middle of the stadium, and he proceeds to sick 2 dinosaurs on him, 2 raptors, velociraptors, and they just rip him to shreds. It's a real bloody scene, and the crowd is cheering. Everybody loves it, but Daredevil and Punisher get eaten by raptors. If you're wondering where they get dinosaurs, there's a place called the Savage Land where dinosaurs roam free. Yep. So, just in case you're wondering, there are dinosaurs in the Marvel Universe.
And in the future, apparently.
That's right.
It doesn't have to just be in the Marvel Universe.
So, later on, our heroes discover where Hawkeye's daughter is being held. His daughter's name's Ashley, by the way. So they find out where she's being held, and they drive the spider buggy right into the building to break her out. They crash in. Another massive bloodbath ensues as Hawkeye and his daughter Ashley kick the crap out of all of Kingpin's men. It's a fantastic scene, very, very bloody, very, very graphic. So she kills everybody, they kill everybody, they rescue the daughter. Ashley decapitates Kingpin in a very, very, very bloody panel. This book's very, very sick if you haven't noticed by now. But then she turns the weapon, after decapitating Kingpin, turns the weapon on her father, says she's going to kill Hawkeye in front of all these men just to prove that she's the new boss. So she's kind of a bitch. Logan sees this from across the way, and he's not happy. He's now being put in a position where he has to intervene. He said he wouldn't do any violence, but hey, he's got to do something. So you cut to Logan. He's looking very, very pissed. And that's the end of that scene. So our heroes escape. Logan drives through. He rescues Hawkeye. He doesn't have to beat anybody up. He doesn't have to kill anybody. But he's still not very pleased. They find themselves being chased by an army of henchmen and several dinosaurs. Hot on their trail. Just then, an earthquake happens. And the earth opens up beneath them. They've been hinting to this for a long time. So the whole earth opens up, swallows them. Everybody's falling, and then the pages go black. Light comes on. Logan finds himself down in this giant hole, this cavern, surrounded by Moloids. Moloids everywhere, thousands of Moloids, and they are feasting on everybody they can get their hands on. The entire army that was chasing them through the desert is now lunch for the Moloids. It's not pretty. So Logan quickly rescues Hawkeye, flips over the spider buggy. They jump in, they escape, they drive up the cliff, the side of the mountain, because it is the spider buggy. It can go anywhere. It can drive on any surface. It's a very bitchin' buggy. So they escape. So now they're driving through the desert still. There's a lot of driving. This is very Thelma and Louise kind of a book. But hey, you know, it's two dudes driving across the country.
Just trying to get some money.
Just trying to get paid.
Get paid.
We don't know why yet. We don't know what they're hauling. So there's a really funny scene where they're driving through right here, and they see a giant Loki skeleton crushed underneath a busted Baxter building. I don't know, it was kind of neat. I thought it was worth mentioning. You see that funny shit like that throughout the whole book. And that's when you get your first look at Venom. Venom, the alien symbiote you know from Spider-Man books, is watching them from the mountains, looking down on them. They pass by Mount Rushmore, and it's all the president's Mount Rushmore with Red Skull's head right on the side. So you know something's going on there. And then they finally have a little pit stop. They stop at a little place called Millar's Bar, a nod to Mark Millar, the author of the book.
He wrote himself in.
He wrote himself in. What is he, Stephen King?
Yeah, right.
So he's sitting there. They're all sitting there at the bar, having a beer, having a little chit chat, a little bro time. And Hawkeye, you know, kind of says to Logan, you know, what happened? What happened to you? Why? You know, what did the villains do to you that made you what you are? You know, why'd you give up violence? They broke you, clearly. What'd they do? And of course, there's a couple of drunks at the end of the bar looking at these two guys having a chit chat, and they start making fun of them. Logan jumps across the bar and attacks this guy, the guy that's making fun of him, and he sticks his claws right up to his chin. He's about to murder him. So you know, he's starting to slip back into his old ways a little bit. The whole pacifism thing might not be happening very much longer.
Yeah, that's what happens when you travel away from your family.
That's right. Go away from the wife for a day, and next thing you know, you're on a killing spree.
Right.
So he doesn't do it, luckily. He doesn't slaughter the guy right in the middle of the bar. But he storms out of the bar. And Hawkeye follows him. And Logan proceeds to tell him the whole story. So chapter 5 starts out as a flashback. It's a flashback to Wolverine in the Xavier Mansion. You see him with Jubilee. There's a red alert. The mansion is under attack. Every Marvel villain you can think of is storming the Xavier Mansion. Strife is one of the first ones you see. You see Dr. Octopus. You see Bullseye. Crusher Creel. I mean, a lot of random characters in there. Mr. Sinister's there. Green Goblin is there. Kraven the Hunter is there. Omega Red. All the Marvel villains you can think of are attacking the Xavier Mansion. And this kicks off one of the bloodiest, most awesome bloodbath fights ever captured on paper. It's Wolverine versus everybody. And he slashes everybody to bits. He's cutting off heads. He's cutting off arms. He's stabbing people through the throat. It's like 4 pages of awesome. And it finally starts to end. Logan and Bullseye get in a fight, just the two of them at the very end, and it's like a 2-hour fight. They're finally fighting. And just as Bullseye is drawing his dying breath, I'm not going to tell you this part. What happens next is one of the greatest things ever in comics, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, so you got to read this book. So we're just going to skip past what happens. But man, is it epic. It is absolutely incredible. Shauna, don't say a word.
I'm not.
But you read it. You know.
Yeah, I did.
You know how incredible it is.
Such a good book.
Oh my god. So it's worth reading this book just for what happens at the end of chapter 5. If you just read one chapter, read chapter 5. Moving on. So chapter 6 opens to Logan and Hawkeye racing across the desert. Go figure. This time they're being chased by a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex. But it's like, you guys must have skipped something, right? Yeah, we did. But the Tyrannosaurus Rex has been taken over by the alien symbiote Venom. He's now Venom Rex. They don't name him that. I just said that. So Hawkeye starts shooting him with a machine gun on the back of the spider buggy. Of course, he's blind, so he's not hitting shit. You see that Emma Frost is watching this whole scene on closed circuit television. And she says, send in Black Bolt. Black Bolt, who you know is the king of the Inhumans. He speaks and blows shit away. So they send in Black Bolt. Black Bolt says just a single word. He just whispers. I think he says, stop. Or something like that. Yeah. And he just blows Tyrannosaurus Rex Venom out of the water. That one little word. I love Black Bolt. He's freaking awesome. And you don't see him enough. And that's the only time you see him in this whole book, but it was worth it. Excuse me. And then Emma Frost teleports them all to her house, her base.
Residence.
Yeah, her current residence. So she brings them there just to kind of rescue him, to hook him up. She gives him new clothes. She fixes up the spider buggy, just kind of giving him a break. It's a nice break in the story because some crazy shit's happened up until now. She has a sit down with Logan and explains that the mutants are gone. There's like the only mutants left are living there with Emma Frost. People aren't being born with mutant genes anymore. It's like that they're just a dying breed. So she lays that on his lap for no reason whatsoever.
Here's another thing.
Here's one more thing you got. That sucks. And then she tells Hawkeye, I know what you're carrying. I know what's in the box. And Hawkeye's like, well, I hope you can keep a secret, bitch. So anyway, she hooks him up, gives him a new spider buggy, fixes it up, sends them on their way. A little interlude there. It was kind of pointless, but it was kind of neat to see Emma. They cruise through Pym Falls, which is another just awesome, memorable part of this book. They drive past Pym Falls, and I think Logan says, well, how do we know it's Pym Falls? And then they pan back, and there is this massive, huge, city-sized skeleton just laying there dead. And it's, of course, Hank Pym, giant man, died right there. And his skeleton is like the size of a small city. It's this enormous fallen. So it's called Pym Falls. That's where Pym fell. And that's just outside of New Babylon. So they finally enter New Babylon. They've made it all the way across the country. They've made it to the big city, the capital of America. It's just like the Washington, D.C. This is where the President Red Skull lives. And it's a slummy ass big city. It's kind of like in Back to the Future 2 when they go to Biff Land, they go back in time and Biff runs everything. That's exactly what it looks like. It's a shitty, slummy New York.
Nailing the analogies, man. They're great.
It is.
Love it.
Biff Tannen Land.
Yep.
That's what the future looks like. So, we go to the meeting between Hawkeye and Hawkeye's henchman that he's meeting with. He's making his delivery. He opens up his case, finally see what he's been toting across the country for so long, and it is a case full of super soldier serum, the stuff that they use to make Captain America. It's super soldier serum. So that's what he's been carrying the whole time. As deals always do, this one goes bad. Bullets eventually start flying. I think Hawkeye says, well, yeah, we'll make the deal, but I don't care about money. I just want a vial of the super soldier serum to make me an Avenger again, blah, 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 blah. So the deal goes bad. Bullets start flying. Logan gets littered with bullets. And then, sadly, this is the part where Hawkeye gets killed. He gets a bullet right through the head. He's dead.
You were going to say any spoilers.
That's not a big spoiler. Maybe it is. They're not watching this long. We're like at a half hour now. People are turned off already.
Good point.
Chapter 7. We're almost done, people. Thank you for watching so far. It's only this and then one extra chapter and we're done. Chapter 7. This chapter is particularly dope, in my opinion. Starts out with a flashback 50 years in the past, and you see Red Skull standing over the dead body of Steve Rogers, Captain America. Red Skull has finally won. I think he's standing on the steps of the Capitol building or something, and he's standing over the corpse of Steve Rogers. Enter to today. External shot of the White House. The White House is covered in Nazi shit. There's swastikas and stuff everywhere, because Red Skull, as you know, is a Nazi. Sorry, another spoiler. Should have known that by now. So you cut to Red Skull, and he is standing. He's in the White House. He's in his trophy room, which is badass. His trophy room is full of all the vanquished superheroes that he's killed. Iron Man's suit is in there. Doctor Strange's cloak of levitation is in there. Vision's head is sitting on a wall. Thor's helmet, not his hammer. His hammer's back in Las Vegas, but his helmet's sitting in there. Billion little Easter eggs inside there, like Moon Knight's cloak. I mean, there's tons of stuff in his little trophy room. But above all, the top thing in his trophy room is Captain America's shield. And so you pan back, and he's admiring all of his stuff, but he's wearing Captain America's cowl and mask. He's dressing himself as Captain America. It's like Silence of the Lambs with this guy. He's ensconced in Steve. So, just then, the henchmen who killed Hawkeye and Logan walk in with 2 body bags over their shoulders. They dump the bodies on the ground. Red Skull's like, "Great, you guys are great. Well done. Job well done. Fantastic. Way to kill him." Just then, Logan jumps out of his body bag. Obviously, he's not dead. He kicks the shit out of all the henchmen. I don't think he's killed anybody yet, but he definitely beats these guys. He knocks them all out. And Logan and Red Skull get into a massive battle. Yet another amazing, incredible battle between Red Skull and Wolverine. Because Wolverine is rocking Captain America's shield. You got Red Skull with a sword. I'm not sure of this Marvel significance of the sword. If you know, send us an email or send us a message. But he's rocking somebody's sword, and Logan's rocking the shield. Huge bloodbath, multiple pages of blood. At the end of the multiple pages of blood, you see Logan decapitates Red Skull with the shield. Red Skull's head goes flying. Hooray! Red Skull's dead. Logan wins. By the way, Logan still has... No, wait a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Did I mention Red Skull's dead? Yes. Okay. So, Red Skull's dead. Logan, this is just badass. Way to go, Mark Millar, for even thinking of this. Logan's got to get the hell out of there. So what does he do? He puts on Iron Man's suit. So you got Wolverine in Iron Man, in Tony Stark's suit. And he blasts his way out of the White House. Like, blows it to hell. But before doing so, he grabs the briefcase full of all the money that Hawkeye was going to get paid. So now he's got all the money. He's got all the monies.
All the money.
He's rocking Iron Man's suit, and he starts tearing ass back to California as fast as he can go. He's flying back to California to pay off the Hulks, to finally pay off all his debts, to finish the whole thing. And then he finally arrives back in California, and what he finds there is not pretty. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. Sorry, this is another one of those things I'm just going to skip over. But whatever it is, it finally makes him pop his claws. So you see the claws come out for the first time in the whole book. Logan is going on a killing spree. You know what? Logan's gone. We are full on Wolverine berserker rage at this point. He starts slaughtering every single Hulk that he can find. There's some Hulks that are sitting there fishing. He comes out of the water, kills them all. There's some Hulks sitting in a bar. He kills the light, turns it back on, slaughters them all, cutting heads off. He's killing Hulks like a motherfucker. There's some Hulks that are coming out of a brothel, and they find Logan waiting for him in the parking lot. He can't kill enough Hulks. He's a Hulk killing motherfucker at this point. He goes to the Bruce Banner, like trailer park, where all the Hulks kind of live. It's a little redneck shanty town. We said earlier, the Hulks are all fucking rednecks.
No idea why, but...
We do know why. I'm going to get to that in a second.
Oh.
Okay, well, what it is, Bruce Banner, a.k.a. the Incredible Hulk, they say in this book, through years of gamma poisoning, has gone completely insane. So, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, I thought Hulk was a good guy. No, in this book, he's a bad guy, because he's gone batshit crazy from years of gamma poisoning. So he has bred... He's trying to make, all his children, he starts breeding, he starts making little children, and then in order to keep them all Hulks, they got to start inbreeding. You got Hulk brothers having sex with Hulk sisters, and 3 generations later, they're all a bunch of rednecks with green skin. So that happened.
Not that all rednecks are in.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to imply that. But you got to read the book.
Rednecks aren't bad people.
So he goes into the Banner trailer park and fucks it up. He drives the Fantasticar, which we saw earlier, drives that into the trailer park with a bomb. I think it's a bomb strapped to another Hulk, because he's killing Hulks. And he blows the trailer park to hell. Anybody that's still standing gets cut to ribbons. He kills them all. And just then, just as everybody's dead, an old, decrepit man, who you find out is Bruce Banner, walks out of a cave. And like I said, after years of gamma poisoning, he's just mentally insane. He's a total psychopath. And Logan and Banner get into a massive fight. It's Logan fighting an old man, and you'd think that would be kind of a one-sided fight, but surprisingly, Bruce Banner puts up a hell of a fight, man. He kicks a little ass. There's at one point where Banner picks up a cow and he throws it. Cover your ears, Shauna. Earmuffs. Picks up a cow and throws him at Logan, and Logan slices the cow in 2, and there's just cow intestines everywhere.
I like cows.
Yeah, well, Shauna likes cows.
I like to eat them too, but...
Well, this one gets fucked up. This one gets cut in half. So eventually Logan wins the fight. He runs Bruce Banner through with his claws. And then Banner says, in a very classic word balloon, he says, "You shouldn't make me angry." He says, "People piss themselves when I get angry." And then just then he hulks out. And it's not just the standard, it's not that Incredible Hulk. It's this big, ugly, massive, gnarly, disgusting, old Incredible Hulk. And he eats Logan. Picks him up, bites into him, chews him up, swallows him into little tiny bits, and Logan's dead. Later on, you see Banner, you see Hulk sitting in his cave, and the one remaining little inbred nephew that he's got walks in and says, "What happened, blah, 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 blah." Hulk says that he ate Logan. But he says, "Don't worry about it, we eat people all the time. Hulks eat people, it's just what we do." There's a lot of Hulk eating people in this book, too. I haven't talked about that, but there's a lot of Hulks just chewing on a foot.
Again, not sure where that came from.
But... No, but it's freaking awesome. But then his nephew turns to Hulk and says, "Not people with a healing factor." And just then, the Hulk keels over, and then Logan bursts out of his back. Wolverine pops out of the back of the Incredible Hulk, and he's dead. Sorry, that one I probably could have skipped over. That's a big spoiler also. But you know what? If you're still watching this...
But it's a great story to read, because you're not going to see all the art.
Okay, well, I won't... Okay, we'll just end it there. All right? It does go on from there, and there's a very classic John Wayne, Clint Eastwood style ending. We're going to skip over that completely. So we're just going to end it at that. So, the events of that, it ends in a fantastic cliffhanger, which leads you to what is now currently an ongoing Old Man Logan series, which if you're not reading it, you should be.
Incredible.
It's written by Jeff Lemire,
who also writes Descender, which is why he's pointing to me.
Yeah, well, Shauna loves Jeff Lemire. I love Jeff Lemire. So that's it for this one. So we just explained this entire book. You got to check it out. We left a ton of shit out. It's this thick. It's a thick comic book.
It's great.
so worth your time. It's a masterpiece. It's a classic. Read that and then start reading the current run of Old Man Logan.
Easy catch up.
So I don't know how long this video wound up being, but I'm imagining we're at like the 45-minute mark. So man, we've never done a video this long. We really appreciate you watching it.
Yes.
Because man, this is all because of the new movie that finally comes out. Finally, the wait is over.
Friday.
Logan is on Friday. We got our tickets. We're going to the AMC downtown Chicago. We're going to bring my brother Andy. We're going to freaking love it. We're going to have beers and popcorn
Probably
and
go
all
see it the
kinds of
next
fun
day
stuff.
if we like it that much, which I think we will.
And it's in 2D. You're not going to be force-fed the crappy 3D shit that you get every single movie you go to.
Can you tell we don't like 3D movies?
I hate 3D movies. And they're showing it in IMAX, 2D also.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go see it at your IMAX theater in 2D. So we're going to go see it twice. Next weekend, come back. We're going to do a full Logan movie review. So look forward to that. Go see Logan in theaters March 3rd. That's about all I got. That was a lot of shit.
You sure?
Send us an email. Please subscribe to the channel.
Indeed.
Subscribe. We need some subscribers. We got to hit that magic number of 100. Send us a viewer email.
Why you gonna throw us under the bus like that?
I'm at like 36, man. What's that, like 64 more I got to get? Send us an email. Send us a comment. We're going to read it on the air. chuckloadofcomics@gmail.com.
Got it.
And yeah, we're here every single Sunday. So every Sunday, check out your YouTube page. Watch the latest episode. Next week, we're going to have comic book reviews and a full-on Logan movie review.
Probably 2 separate shows.
2 separate shows.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.